Shut up. Hello, welcome back to some more Grade Ace Attorney. I don't have that much time today, so I'm not going to spend too much time dawdling. I gotta leave in like an hour and a half, but I wanted to make some progress, so... Hello, welcome back. I believe this is it. Dr. Sith's laboratory. Sith. Lord? Is that how I'm supposed to pronounce it? Is it Scythe? Sith? Anyway, hey May. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. And there's plenty to assault the eyes here, too.
Looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you've become, Mr. Sato. We could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Yes, hello. There's no music, and I'm feeling uncomfortable, because it means all you hear are the sounds of my controller and me speaking. A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it looks all quite innocent. So why is that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing? Anyway, hey Curb.
It might be best not to ponder too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open to the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You'd either have to have cast iron constitution or really terrible sense of smell. What am I supposed to investigate? There's a fucking owl in the top right. I just noticed. Look at this big, thick book here.
It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh?
What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Due to the autopsies only carried out in certain special circumstances. And the scalpel blades can be sharpened too.
It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all them for?
What are you doing?
I'm guessing this is... yeah.
What are you doing?
Sorry. We, had something we want to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So you thought you'd snoop around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it?
Interesting music.
Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Asmon's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation has revealed.
Whoa. Whoa, this music, what the fuck? Whoa. Farming chunky potato salad in Cold Steel 3. Hey, I'm doing alright. This is gonna be a very short stream, but I wanted to make some progress today. I think Mondays and Wednesdays I might be streaming around this time. I have uni at like 5, but I've got the commute time, so I gotta leave earlier than that. So I might be streaming it around this time on Mondays and Wednesdays just because I want to make progress, but it might not be a very long stream. I hope that's okay. It's 2 AM, so it's a hit or miss. I'd catch it. I'm surprised you're awake, Itsumi. Anyway.
So when we're done, you must leave immediately.
I'm gonna check the owl. Yes, owl.
That looks like an owl and a crow up there.
Crow? Trails of cold steel! Sorry. I know. And they haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mouths, Mr. Naruhodo.
I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like that in your Dharma doll. Something like your Dharma doll on display in the office instead.
Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are skilled, aren't they?
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruto?
Mr. Sato. Can't you tell I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope!
Oh, be sure to remember that from now on.
I feel that. Right, I don't think there's anything else interesting to examine. And there's this. Look at all the bottles of shells on the shelves on these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals.
These ones here are labeled highly toxic.
That's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there.
Oh yes, they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Life goes on. Persona 5. Even when you're surrounded by death. Interesting. Alright. So here's my armband. Dr. Sith, would you be good enough to take a look at this?
Oh, you think I'm good enough, do you?
No. I didn't mean...
So I'm not good enough? In that case, why would you show me anything?
Clearly it's too good for me to show you anything again, ever. Your findings.
So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from examination of the scene?
She's very cool.
The victim, Mr. Odious Man, who disappeared from the experimentation state amid an explosion, and the Mr. Asman, who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower.
Reminds me of a Pokemon character. She reminds me of, almost... I don't know if this is right, but... Rika from, Scarlet and Violet, in a way.
Well, without question, one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But that can't be right!
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints. They're not yet
officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day they will be used as an investigative aid, as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place, so where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions.
Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. That's it? I thought there were gonna be more dialogue. What the fuck? Zero escape? What is this 999? We can't escape, Curb. We can't escape. Holy shit. What is this? Who's speaking? Mama, what is this? Ah, where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? Mama, what is this?
This is a lawyer, dear. Oh.
Hello. To meet you, please. To meet you. Hello, to meet you.
Mama.
Why does she look like Gina? Just behind the mask or something.
Yes. Can I cut this one out?
What?
I've never seen the inside of an Eastern person before. I want to know what racism looks like. Of course you can't. Racism is bad, you know. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience. Everybody's being treated cross.
Oh dear, Mr. Naruto. You are as pale as a corpse.
Then let's Let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Huh, okay. So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor?
Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office.
Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible.
Yes, you. She doesn't mince her words, Miss.
She doesn't mince her words, Mr. Sato.
I think perhaps it's time we left.
Alright. Where to now? Where the fuck do we go now? We've done everything here. So I guess prison? Or the experimentation stage? No, we've been here. What am I doing? I need to be here. Gina! Madame Tuspels. Okay.
Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery.
Being scared makes you crave sweets. I can understand that.
I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere.
That's strange. You should be here investigating the abductions of the waxwork. Oh well, so this will just have to come back again here later. Oh, okay. Why am I going back to the experimentation stage? Gina! Okay, prison. What the fuck? What's he doing?
He's, oh my, the whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations.
And he's still writing more now. Professor. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo! And who is this young lady?
My name is Susato Mikotova. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner! None of this would have happened! No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all.
Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you.
I owe an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning.
Oh, no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot.
Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on in your cell?
Oh, haha, you see, that. Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand.
Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe?
No, actually, this is my autobiography.
Your autobiography?
How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations.
Really?
I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see? So it's going to be a new serial publication. From next month, part 1, an odd birth, an odd upbringing.
You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case?
Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled. By the pair of them. By Asman and by that Aluf engineer Dreba.
We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Alright. Let's try out.
Everything I believed in has turned in on its head. My research, Mr. Osman, the kinesis machine, my hypotheses, even.
I'm sorry it's come to this. There really was no other way.
No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, it didn't really matter. There was nothing worth protecting. It was never in my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public.
No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something.
If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me.
Oh, Professor.
He believed in me this morning, you know. Barok did. He believed in my hypotheses.
Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case.
No, Barok wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it.
Did he?
I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean.
Bunzing's motivation?
After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypotheses anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even.
I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there.
So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barok, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense.
And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor.
Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barok insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish.
You think that's why he...
I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul.
But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he?
Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it.
And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Mr. Asman?
Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start?
I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes.
When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked all over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was emphatic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal...
But in reality, it was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems.
I still can't believe it.
As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually.
But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception.
All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We all want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work just to try and earn a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe.
It is, I agree. And that's why you have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer.
Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Drebber the engineer. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler?
It was about a year ago when Mr. Osman first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory.
I can't fucking speak today.
Since then, I've met him many times to discuss the details about the kinesis machine.
But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist.
Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist.
What do you mean?
He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in the conversation.
I see.
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there any more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
I'm sorry, we only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop.
What workshop?
Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine.
Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. So you're up into Drebber's place of work then?
Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see?
Where can we find it? We have to go there once. There's a good chance we'll find Drebber there.
Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry.
I was more than half expecting that.
You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there.
He blindfolded you. He wasn't taking any chances there.
The place was incredible.
The audio was popping and crackling, the screen, and you reloaded it, fix itself. Okay. If the audio does fuck up, let me know. I have noticed that the audio can, like, cut out sometimes. I'm not entirely sure why that happens. Anyway, hey, Brian, welcome.
The place was incredible. The pinnacle of modern engineering.
Even the oil he used was the very...
Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine on oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain.
Mr. Hairbrain does the Mr. Beast post.
Mr. Beast!
Listen to the correct version of Divine Bloodlines now. I can't believe we have a PC Engine music hater in the chat.
Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead.
What do you think, Mr. Sato? Edomachin, I can't do French. For your next birthday?
I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you'd know even the part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card from Mr. Drebber, for example.
The man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. I'm sure he would never...
Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Look!
Why does he have it on him in prison? Did he just leave it in his pocket for an entire year?
Let me see that.
I'm joking, by the way. I know you don't hate PCE music, but throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you?
Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address.
No. Oh well. Can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be a useful... Okay. How's this gonna come in handy? I wonder. MB said it, so it must be true. Do not believe anything you read on the internet. What is this? This dark smudge here.
I think perhaps it's machine oil.
Ah yes, possibly. Professor Hairbrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain.
Yes, that's right. But more importantly, it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all.
Don't worry, I expect that's because there's such a tiny amount on here. Are those plus and minus signs on the Switch controller? Drebber. That means we're done here, I think. Oh wait, is there anything to present? Professor Hairbrain, what do you make of this?
Oh yes, that's just what we need to prove my hypothesis, isn't it?
No. It's nothing to do with the hypothesis, actually.
Then take it away. I don't want to be bothered by anything that doesn't assist my science.
Alright, keep your button hair on. Here we go. Photograph of Drebber, maybe. Oh, okay. I don't think there's anything here. Maybe I go back to Tussballs then. I think I've done everything here then. It's hard to tell sometimes whether there's something to present. How am I supposed to enjoy this stream? There's no Gene on the screen. One moment.
Gina!
Okay. There you go. Wait, what do I do now? Lord Chief Justice, Sholmes' suite? No, nothing here. Ah, here we go. I hope. Sholmes' suite. Nothing. Wait. Wait. I don't think. Wait. What do I do to progress? Oh no. Oh no. What can I do to progress? Oh fuck. I must have missed something. Is Iris here? She is not. No. Let me go back to Tusples then. Is that enough to ticket? No, there's nothing here. Am I meant to investigate something that I haven't? Ah yes, the heavy curtains in this middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you?
The sign says it's the Madame Tespa special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Pay more money! As if we haven't been scared enough already!
It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Alright. Grind your time? Alright, see ya. Am I meant to do something that I haven't? I'm guessing present something in prison then. I'm guessing I have to present something to someone, but I don't know who and where. Oh god, I'm stuck in this situation where I don't actually know what I've missed. Oh no. The stage on this where the experiment was set up. Very high, isn't it?
About 30 feet, I believe. Or 9 meters if you prefer. Running your neck to see up it starts to hurt after a while, doesn't it?
Yes. When you get up there and look around properly, although if I'm honest, climbing all those stairs makes my chest hurt.
Oh dear. I think perhaps you should exercise more, Mr. Naruhodo.
You better not try going up the stairs to the stage area now. If we were to bump into forensic investigation team, it sounds like it could make trouble. Alright. I've done everything with Gina. Oh. Gina. We were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright.
Hang on.
British? If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby. Apparently you can't look on the stage now because the forensic investigation team won't work. Can't you do anything, Gina? In your capacity as Inspector Lestrade.
Look, I'd like to help you out. But I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do.
I heard my people calling me, it is anyone choose. When it suits you, yes. I have to say British, like,
British?
to get into, like, Gina's voice. Anything to present then? Like... Clearly not. Maybe it's the Enoch Grubber thing I need to present to someone. About this, Gina.
Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I only know A to E. So if it ain't too much blatant trouble.
Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important.
Eh, how come? It's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all.
Turns out this is a very high quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently.
Oh, we're having the dog. Oh my god. I get it. Okay, I completely stumbled upon that on accident. But that's so funny that that's the solution.
You know, Say, let's have a whiff, then. You sure? I don't smell nothing.
No, we didn't mean that you should smell it.
Oh, right. You mean Toby?
Ah. His sense of smell is so good, he can track people over the oceans, can't he?
Professor Hairbrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Trevor's workshop.
It's a very dumb solution. Oh my god, that's so adorable. I think he's picked up a scent.
Do you mean if he rolls the scent of the oil, Toby could lead us to the Dodgy Girl's workshop?
That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping.
Alright, Anne. We'll give it a go. I'll just pour that.
Wait, when did you... Want to pickpocket?
If I can lead everyone to that rapper's workshop, I'll be the boss of the boss before next week.
Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted.
Poor Gregson.
What, Aunt O? Leave it me.
Sorry? I can't understand you.
We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer curve right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time.
I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina.
Oh, right. Oh, well, never mind. Ain't gonna be me what gets in the next. It'll be the boss.
Poor Gregson. Again.
Ready, Toby? Got that oil spent? Have ya? Come on, boy. See you later.
I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine whether the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber, the whereabouts of Light...
I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, you think we ought to try and speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tussbell's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Stop what?
Yes, Iris told us all about his latest unusual adventure.
Stop what? What am I doing? Oh, right.
Here we are again. At the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home. Via the confectionery, of course.
Sato-san is really after something sweet today, isn't she? What's the matter?
Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork! I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself.
Oh, a friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow. Mr. Sholmes can really Fire Emblem engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So as you can see, he's returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties? Hello. Do not disturb.
Poor Sato-san, she looks very perplexed. That must mean I have to do this, right?
I really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I'm going along to say hello again. But where is he?
I love this animation. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh, what do you...
Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I, the world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Holmes.
Did he pass out? Susato-san! Susato-san! Love how he swapped to Japanese because he was so panicked. No.
My most humble apologies.
I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London.
My dear madame, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point.
As long as it's not of questionable street food quality.
I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Holmes?
Merely a secret identity, you understand, though the case is largely solved now.
Largely solved?
We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume.
Oh, we're talking about the waxwork production, I presume.
Indeed we are, my dear fellow. As I predicted, it was an easy proverbial pie. Although, I confess, I'm yet to partake of the pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter.
That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly?
Ah, well, do remember I did say it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone?
Oh yes, the most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as of yet.
This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned.
That's amazing!
Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event.
Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no?
Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive.
It's probably what was inside the cage.
But does that mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary?
A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tuspel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all.
Poor Iris.
Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork?
Enoch Rebbe. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down.
Oh,
Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Trevor. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine.
a swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man.
He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas?
I have no data of yet. As of yet.
You didn't even say as of, I don't know why I'm saying as of yet.
I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance at least, I may be in a better position to help.
Yes, Trevor's appearance.
Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find a clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it.
Alright, I'll present things to you. Kazuma's death. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us?
My Mr. Dear Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about?
last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder.
You told us that it was a murder. And you examined Kazama's body.
Indeed, and wherein lies the problem?
We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asogi.
You're quite sure?
He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead.
Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere in the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Ha 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 ha! Priceless. I don't suppose that the performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo?
I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes.
I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that.
Please, Mr. Sholmes.
Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say.
Mr. Sholmes, would you... Sholmes is like the great Among Us player. Mr. Sholmes. The greatest, yeah. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber. The face of the engineer, we see.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive.
Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes, forgive me.
That's suspicious.
Very interesting, that's very interesting indeed.
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You turned quite pale all of a sudden.
I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me?
Oh, well, what is it?
As I explained to you when I arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it on the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains.
Oh, yes. The Professor exhibit, isn't it?
Would you like to see it for mere 5 shillings? That's a special one-time only price. You understand?
What?
The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor?
Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone.
The price is a very reasonable 5 shilling. I think you'll find it well worth it.
Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes?
Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness.
I can never tell with you. That's the point. That's why you're the greatest Among Us player.
Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shilling.
Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to pursue it at your leisure.
It's gonna be the one in the picture.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit.
Through those heavy curtains at last. $5 we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention the demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off as rather well in that list, I think.
Dumped spells. Tuspels. Special exhibit. Interesting. The head seems to be missing.
Oh dear. I felt a shiver down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
I think it's the same suit, honestly. The same, yeah. I don't know. Mr. Sato, I say we turn on our heels and head straight home. Via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of that great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place.
This must be where Mr. Sean's point said it was largely solved.
Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shouldn't we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato's own voice tremble?
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look!
That's a spade. Perhaps we should investigate a little more detail. There's a camera. I can't see his face. Is that Chris Xenoblade?
What a large shovel. He's only rather honestly, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night?
Mr. Sato,
Yes.
that's a spade, isn't it?
No, it's a shovel.
No. Shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
We've been through this, Mr. Naruhodo. Naruhodo, it's a shovel.
No. Although, we haven't considered trowels.
We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement.
So we're going to bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's a real question. I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll put it back exactly as it would, don't worry. Huh? That sure looks like Chris.
What on earth? How can...
I don't believe it. A black monocle. Oh, I see. It looks like the guy. Right.
Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is...
Yes. That's what he looks like? It's Enoch Drebber.
The colour of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably
Him. I don't know who said that line.
Indeed it is.
Oh, indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes.
This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe.
Can't believe they put the best Zeno character in Ace Attorney. Fuck. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head?
The head was missing when the model was returned to the thief, by the thief who stole it.
What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it?
Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. but I must locate the missing link. Guilty gear. Head to the suite. As Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations.
Do you know, though, something about this room is strange.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Indeed they are, Mr. Sato. Do go on.
And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful.
After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted.
A closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity?
As you surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried at the Lowgate Chemistry, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair.
Oh.
The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life.
Came back to life?
He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into a moonlit graveyard.
The exhibit here depicts that very
scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events.
There was a witness.
But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat.
Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. Interesting. Young witness. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber.
10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been abetted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old.
It's so horrifying.
Scared out of his wits, the young grabber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident, and the sheer terror of what he did is said to have turned his hair white overnight.
It's shown us in the photograph we have in him. Not that it's sepia or anything and we can't really tell color from it, but his hair's completely white. I would have said blonde.
For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, the exhibit was even created here, at Madame Tuspel's.
I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing at the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night.
Yes, what was he up to?
The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very brightest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder.
Ace Attorney Investigations 2 flashbacks. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had.
But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale.
But why did people stop believing it?
Why, simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact.
What do you mean by no resurrection?
The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly what had been following the execution.
No, but that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers.
That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think?
Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life, that's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of the shock, nope. It's hard to believe that the incident was an out-and-out lie. Alright. So there's something I have to investigate.
This must be the killer. The female was the professor.
Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tespel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble royal blood.
The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place.
I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. As we should examine it in more detail. The head, I guess.
So this is the condemned man.
Yes, the so-called professor.
Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find PC, made from his grave headless as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sean's absent-mindedly forgotten dream magic.
That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum.
And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. Quite a big piece too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say.
Where could such a thick piece of glass come from, I wonder?
Suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength.
From the crystal tower. But why?
Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building.
For example. Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken too.
You don't mean...
Exactly, the crystal tower at the great exhibition.
But why would glass from the crystal tower be lodged inside this waxwork jacket?
It makes you think, doesn't it? Is that the last piece of thing I need? Early in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? Is that it? It might be. It doesn't matter if they're here in Britain or in Japan. Graveyards are scary.
Now I come to think of it, this is the first time I've seen a British grave. According to what I've read, the custom in Britain is to bury the dead as they are without cremation.
What? But if you do that, you might accidentally bury people while they're still alive.
I'm not sure that would be worse than accidentally incinerating people when they're alive.
I think we can both agree that it's best not to be still alive when our time comes then.
What am I to say to that?
Maybe there's something else I haven't examined. Photography. What's this here?
Well, what appears to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
A camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sean's skin prints?
I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment the dead body came back as a ghost on film.
We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think.
Wait, we're just taking the camera?
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, you can see what picture was taken.
What's a photographic plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming through the lens.
Light illuminating the darkness?
If we were to open the cover of the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's take a look.
You see yourself, Sato-san, your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Guessing that is the last thing we can investigate, but... That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chochin paper lantern, is it? Chochin, I think. Yes, right, because I ate so many jokes about this in AI the Somnium Files. God.
Lamp, lantern, torching. The point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only like this. Well, I certainly couldn't do it.
I'm not sure if I could visit a graveyard at all. Even in broad daylight, to be honest. I'm guessing there isn't anything else to investigate. Look, it's Chris. Alright. Oh, so I don't actually have to investigate the photograph.
Oh! What? The bleeding no, Otto? What are you gonna do?
Oh, hello. Hello, Gina. Hold up. Avoid that. Oh, look! The cover came open!
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside.
Crossbow fans when they go outside at night and see a street lamp.
You have to change the plate within each new photograph if you want to take it, you see?
There's something wrong.
There's no plate, it's been removed.
Ah, what a pity. I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we never found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Poor Susato-san, she looks devastated. What's the purpose of taking this camera then? Oh, there's blood! Why is there blood?
What a wonderful machine.
You really love contraptions like this, don't you?
Oh yes, and anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible.
Almost irresistible, surely.
Well, whenever I look at a pocket board, for example, I can't help myself. I must simply have to take it apart.
That's worrying.
Yes, Father tells me the time by rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch.
Poor Professor Mikotoba. It's ketchup. It's tomato sauce.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is it?
The bellows just here. There seem to be some very dark red stains.
American spotted. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Tomato sauce. It looks like blood, actually.
Oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Ha ha ha. Ha. Ha, Reen, haha, funny. Well, now we know why this is going to be relevant.
What? No! What have you got undone?
Gina, what are you doing here?
I asked Iris, and she said this was where you be. So...
Oh my god, she actually fired it!
Gina, that's allowed in the museum.
Madame Tussbells will have you take a position as a waxwork. If you're not careful...
I think there might be a more pressing concern.
Wait! I still had some flesh powder left from 6 months ago, so...
Alright, Gina, we understand. But please, put down the gun.
British? Sorry, I got scared.
You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So what brings you here, Gina?
What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found the Dodgy Ghost workshop!
What? You found Dreb's workshop?
Yep! British? Toby's nose took me straight here! The boss on the other's there, over there right now on track, so come on! Here's the address! I got the boss to write it out!
Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once.
Oi, Anne! See you there!
You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still.
What? Oh my god! What the fuck?
I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear, someone is really feeling sorry for himself.
Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming.
Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense.
And Iris's dinner plate. Forget that, I'll pay for everything.
Then there is not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail carriage at once.
No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then.
I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Mr. Sato. Right, let's go. There's another one? That is an oddly red, conspicuous set of red arrows. I wonder what they were used for. Red quiver, I should say.
What's that? I thought it's instantaneous can intersect this with a machine.
Indeed, it would appear so. Though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got it, Yan?
Gina, well done for finding this place. In such little time. You've really worked miracles.
It's over here, here's the miracle worker.
Aw.
I thought you lot when you were up along.
What's up with his eyes? Why does he look like that? Yeah, one knitted brow. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon. Not a bag of fish and chips.
So, Inspector, is any sign of the engineer?
Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate.
According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with a debt of gratitude on pay now, would I?
Thank you.
Anyway, if you happen to snoop around here, get cracking. Lord Von Six and the forensic investigation team on the way here as we speak.
Them again.
I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types.
Right.
So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down, whilst we have the chance. And use Sholmes.
Pardon?
They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Ah ha ha ha! Very troll, Gregson, very, very troll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model.
Right then. Let's see what we can find in here. This is... It's your European style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside.
Oh, do you suppose?
Crossbow boltsies, and just the right side for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds.
In other words...
Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It only goes to show that Trevor was the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes of the whole scam.
I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. The machine is covered by the special suspension station for some scientific equipment here. There'll be serious repercussions if you to examine it, from the Crown and the government.
Well, those two don't seem to be holding back.
It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow.
No loose change should be dropped on the floor or nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella.
British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they?
I think they're just these two, Mr. Sato. Where's this trophy?
Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say?
It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. No doubt if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away.
It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor.
Ah.
Would you like a massage?
No, I'm fine. Thank you, thank you! I had no idea it was such a grand thing.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Trevor than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madame. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course.
He's not going to let that go, is he?
It's curious though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times.
Alright. Let's take a look at those two pieces of evidence. Oh, actually the quiver wasn't entered into the court record. Remember this one. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
Headphones fell off, give me a sec. Sato deserves that massage because he carries everyone else. So true, so true.
Seems rather romantic, isn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebel was a very talented scientist. I think they need the girls to investigate. Hold on, one sec. Okay, that comes in. Okay. No worries, all good. What on earth is this?
An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies.
Is that how the trick will be described, is it?
Sorry.
Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it?
Oh, well, this model is yet, but a real airplane would actually fly high in the sky.
Well, suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in mid-air unsupported.
So to you, the solution is ever taller towers.
Alright, and the door? This door doesn't want to open. It's almost like Persona 3.
Yeah. It looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it.
There's a
specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard. So hands off until he gets you.
With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute.
Well, you don't have permission. And no one's giving it to you.
Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that.
Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side.
No, Trevor must have fled at the first sign of danger.
Oh,
Is something wrong, Mr. Sato?
well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too?
Yeah. Oh. What you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grass. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard.
Oh, ran away.
Oh my, someone is in there.
There's a rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll make the rap for it. Just get us through that blast and all. There, you had me at that room.
You've confused minutes with seconds, I think.
Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, Elizabeth. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow.
Yes! Is this gonna be like an AI The Somnium Files action sequence? Quick time events? Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Run! What? What's happening here? Why is everything upside down?
What? They don't ain't at all.
But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises.
Maybe there's a sound of Trevor running away.
There's only one door in this room.
And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high.
What's that up there? Are they footprints? On the ceiling?
Blimey, what we have in here then?
Guys, do you not notice the fucking dynamite in the center of the room? What the fuck are you doing? Oh my god!
Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry.
Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints.
To what?
The Professor Abrams bombing machine it is, blimey. There have been no need to muck about trying to investigate what's scrap metal. There is something of great interest here too. This is a rope. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar.
A rope? What's significant about that? Oh, there's a green balloon here as well.
Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo.
We must investigate the entire room thoroughly before the forensic investigation team arrive too.
Guys. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something?
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, this is in point of fact something rather interesting. What do you make of this?
Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. Oh. Looks like about a thick cigar. Ah! Mr. Sato, what's the matter?
That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it?
Oh, a time!
To not put my voice that high.
A time bomb?
Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly?
Ah, ha ha ha! You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo.
I won't take that as a compliment.
British? Huh, you don't know nothing, do you, oh?
You haven't got a clue what it is either, do you? Have you, Gina?
I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance.
Oh, well thank goodness. But then, what is it?
I see, so that's it.
Goodness, Mr. Sholmes. Have you seen to the heart of the matter?
There are times where I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Sato.
Here I go. I feel a great deduction coming.
Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself.
Oh, but how could you?
And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor here is, without question, completely genuine.
Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything.
It would be a pleasure.
Alright, I feel like,
After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade.
well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway.
Ha 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 ha!
Oh, you deflected and back to glove with such fortitude there, Mr. Sean. Well done.
You're too kind, my dear madame. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand there, Miss Susato.
Oh, yes. I'd be delighted.
So, shall we begin?
Oh god, I feel like I should stop for this deduction because it's gonna take a while, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna stop now. I want to get ready to head off to uni. I know this was a very short stream, but I don't want to get into a deduction. They usually take like 10 to 20 minutes, maybe. Maybe I'm probably overestimating it, but about 10 minutes, and I kind of don't want to get... I don't know. How close am I to be continued at this point? I'm assuming it's just after this room, right? Oh, we'll continue. It's fine. Just for a bit. I've got a bit more time.
Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Flip furniture.
It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, the chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down to the floor.
Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that?
Indeed, the key here is gravity.
Oh my god, this is so cool. What the fuck? Oh my god, this is so fucking cool, this effect.
It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us for the great pull of the Earth.
What happens if I just wait? Oh no. Okay, I wanted to see it go all the way to the top, but I guess it's fine.
For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normality.
It says safe right there.
Goodness.
The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part of gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Mr. Sato. I too was quite incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact.
But why does it have a clock on it?
Most relevant question indeed, that is a timing for device that controls when the gravity and direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And that commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment of restoration occurred.
Sure.
Yes, this is the reason why everything has been turned upside down. The reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of this anti-gravity device. So you see, we need to look no further than explain the state in which we now find this room.
Yes, coming from the man who also says that instant teleportation is impossible.
The direction which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion. By some time by the timer device, I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed.
Oddly specific.
Missing link? Now let us consider the next conundrum. What's our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there in the ceiling?
A question whose answer will lead us to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Ghost Rubber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, accepting the skylight, that is.
Sepia.
And by inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on his way.
But the ceiling here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If gravity reverses so sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently?
Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere where to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
Oh, the rope.
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun.
Escape via the skylight. Honestly, this is very funny. Like, this is probably the funniest and best moment of this, I think. Best great deduction so far, just because the presentation was so fucking good. All the fucking objects floating, that's so cool. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there is just one thing that troubles me.
I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life.
The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean.
I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis.
But your whole deduction hinges on it!
Ah, but my dear fellow, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, however improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line. The publishers of Daemon X Machina for Nintendo Switch later ported to Switch. To PC, not to Switch. You can't port a Switch game to Switch because it's already on Switch. It's one of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy.
Yes, I have a feeling I read it I've read it in something that Mr. Sasha sent me.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, the spell's broken at last.
The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it?
Indeed it was, in lily coils near the wall.
But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall?
Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. As evidence of such, you only need to look at the mystery we'll face in this room now skillfully unraveled.
That argument is as circular as the ropes of coils of rope.
I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. Here with some minor corrections. The great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yes, you're right. You must do it quickly, before I have to go to uni.
If you're ready then, let us resume. Sherlock Holmes's logic and reasoning spectacular.
Okay. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. The key here is gravity. It appears the technology of the lost has exceeded. Okay, it's all the same. The inverted furniture clearer is the whole business. I don't think that's right, yeah.
To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I found already utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation.
But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, though, so...
Yes, you're quite right. I must completely discount the idea at once.
That's unusually merciless. Ooh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato.
When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he?
While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure.
Oh, look at that!
I know. That slender little vase looks like it's able to topple at any moment, but the flowers are flowering. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say?
To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deep impression on me.
Take that!
Upright, yeah. The upright vase clearly reveals about the truth, the part that gravity played in this whole business.
Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you surpass yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps?
No one is trying to steal a spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me.
As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance, all the furniture in the room is upside down. The unassuming, slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large shape, there was nothing affixing it to the floor.
And it's the exception that breaks the rule.
In short, as much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all.
My deepest sympathies for your loss.
Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes.
But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deduction. Now that we know this concrete is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility.
You don't say.
Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in this room.
Which might sound obvious, but leaves one very mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that?
Quite, and naturally there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of this anti-gravity device.
He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he?
I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong.
Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all of this furniture over. So whoever it was, it must have had a reason.
I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though.
Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Look, there's something written on the other side of this chair.
Yes, safe. 432528.
5582. Why did I... Okay. Safe, as in safe and secure.
As in secure lockable box, I think.
Admittedly more likely.
Well, there is a large box, a large safe put to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes.
So you mean this number would let us open it?
I wonder why it's written here, though.
Take that!
Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination.
Precisely, I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not?
Yes, last year. When I brought a lottery ticket, I noticed the ticket number down on the inside cover. Noted the number down on the inside cover of a book just in case.
That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information.
Just keeping the ticket self-safe would be more sensible, I think.
And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo?
When the day draw came along, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in, and I had to turn my room upside down to find it.
That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart, and always forget where they've noted things down.
Not if you always note things in the same place.
I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I slipped the ticket into, so I had to turn my room upside.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room.
finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of the room needed a combination for the safe. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of the piece of furniture and forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room.
Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe.
Interesting.
Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Alright, this is all dialogue we've seen before. It's the skylight.
Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there?
Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve.
Can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, that was such a simpler in those Halcyon days when gravity could be reversed.
It was minutes ago, and those Halcyon days never existed in the first place.
Well, I suppose we simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe there in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Aha, that's the balloon. This is the gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but does seem to be a real balloon.
Yes, I believe you're right. It's helium that's I think it's helium that's keeping it up.
A green gas balloon. Why does that seem to ring a bell with me?
If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look.
Oh yes, surely that's a clue, isn't it? Though what tells us, I'm not sure.
Take that!
Ah, that didn't actually work. Being able to fly freely in the sky, that has been mankind's true dream for centuries. Okay. I've never got something wrong here before, wow. At least I don't think I have.
So close to the skylight. Really is very hard to believe the two are unrelated.
But perhaps we need to approach this from a different angle. Oh wait, there's a shoe. I didn't even notice the shoe. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there, look!
Oh yes, and there are more footprints on the balloon too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think?
If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up the ceiling though?
Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
There we go. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection,
there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon.
But for what purpose?
A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar data.
Ah, it was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo
and Iris found at the scene.
and inside of the balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second bird cage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception.
You mean to say?
If we assume the balloon here is a model of the one used on the day, there's a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it.
Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway.
But the balloon's out of reach.
Hence why we resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became imprisoned to those lofty heights.
Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If there only there's someone who could see inside.
You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution.
By the rope.
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope?
Mr. Trumps has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope.
Somehow. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. Pushing your throw up to the balloon and pull it down so it's on the ground.
It's much easier said than done, I feel. It could take us a very long time as well.
True, perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we?
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow?
It was found at the scene, in fact.
And in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber.
If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time like this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon?
Oh, it's the head. Ah! What the? A waxwork?
Indeed it is, a waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock.
So I can't see the face inside, that means.
Just a moment, this is the head of the waxwork model? Does that mean... oh goodness.
I see you've joined the dots, Mr. Sato. Excellent.
Of course, headless waxwork model. The case of the adopted Madame Tussbell's model that was largely solved. It was the head of the killer that was missing.
Indeed it was.
So I'm guessing they swapped the head on the actual waxwork model or something.
But I believe Madame Tussbell's will not have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor.
Yes.
But why is it here?
This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tussbell's and returning it to Santerre was earlier today was none other than Enoch Drebber.
This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are then inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Okay. Unsurprising, but cool.
Well, it appears our logical pleasure crew has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure.
The architect?
You mean Mr. Drebber?
As it seems quite impossible that he's escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room.
What?
And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together to its deduction.
Enoch Drebber is right here, somewhere in this room. So, Mr. Naruhodo,
will you do the honors?
Yes, of course. Dance with the deduction type C. This is so cool, yeah.
Take that!
Really?
All right, Mr. Drebber, come out. Not there, Mr. Naruhodo.
But I don't understand.
You could always climb inside yourself. Please don't mind us. Go ahead. I know how fond you are of wardrobes.
Think of something else. Thank you very much. Okay. Sorry, I had to do that. That's fun.
Where could Mr. Drebber be hiding in? I'm sure that we've already come across a clue.
Oh, the save.
Take that!
Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here.
Which tells us that the engineer was still here in the building at that point in time.
He was in fact searching for the combination to a safe.
And pressed for time, he made no attempt to ride the furniture he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that the search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes's great deduction of this tipsy-topsy-turvy puzzle.
Alright. Inside the save. Sold.
Elementary. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you?
Opening the safe, do you mean?
What else?
Let's see. The combination was 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, 8, 2. I knew that. Alright, here goes. You found me. The fuck? Your very first me thought this was hiding in the safe. I didn't even think about the safe.
Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Gribble, I presume.
Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine.
And you sure have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tuspels as well.
Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions, personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first.
Deactivate.
Your parcel?
I refer to, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in a most prominent position. Ah. Ha ha ha! I see. Stunned silence. You are all gearing up to die with me then.
No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort.
I run now, but get a kill or get us killed.
Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they?
Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say.
Anti-gravity devices don't exist.
I couldn't push it, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay. What on earth happened in here?
You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, me with a camera going on, don't you worry, Drabber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop that I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt.
Whistling?
Ah, that would have been me.
Oh.
For some reason, I work in fine fettle today.
No words, just tightly squeezed chips.
Clearly, I must have a screw loose. Oh, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose. I guess I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down.
We also found a rope over by the wall.
Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So, I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among us, the raptors.
And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe. Having first set this parcel ticking.
Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Got an ass wish, have ya? Unwrap inside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I tried to throw so he hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely.
But once you climb inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again.
I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside. Allow the door to be unlocked from within.
Ah, so it is.
I had always intended to blow this place to smithereens in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along to screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you plan to blow it all up? No, that was unforeseen.
What do you mean?
Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. I calculated the time required for a retreat to a safe distance and set the stuff ice accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth?
Yes, a Cassandra mask. I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Hairbrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which his head belongs to.
That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor, clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it to safely reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection after all.
That's enough. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here.
Yes, well.
Dr. Sith again, so the forensic investigation team are here.
And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer to access to him? If long straw hard knew of this, you'd be finished. You'd lot to leave at once.
My dear madame, there's no need such for threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance. Is it, Dr. Sith?
Oh,
Hello, Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith.
If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression you raise, you're quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell, you. Get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves to the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today.
But, Mr. Sholmes!
Let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands.
I said get out, now! All of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson.
Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head out. If it wasn't for this boy and his companions, we'd never have found this place. And the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb sitting here. That is all disarmed.
Inspector.
Something giving you a shock, hasn't it, Rebel? Oh, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend you, quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Huh? What are you? That one? You mean? Go, go, go.
Oh no, there's another one out. Oh no. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage at the Great Exhibition. Professor Hairbrain's invention and all its secrets We're blown away forever. God, okay. Well, he's a character. Alright. I'm ending off. I don't have time. I need to get going. I figured we were so close. I may as well do this. Alright. See you later. Thanks for watching. I'll be here tomorrow. Bye.